Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Exceedingly Abundantly. Okay, I see that I am live, and I hope in front of you right now you'll see my screen that is welcoming you to Exceedingly Abundantly podcast. I will probably wait. Well, it's about 3 o'clock my time. Actually, it's 3:01. So let me just go ahead and get started. So I just want to welcome you all again here today. It's been a while, actually. I didn't do it live the last time. I did recording and then I played that recording, and I think some of you have seen that I was not able to record that day because I was visiting with Barbara O'Neill. She had spoken at a church that was further up north from where I live, still in Texas though, and I took the opportunity to participate there and to be a part of that, and it was a thrill. It was a joy. I would love to have Barbara O'Neill come to my area, which is the Valley. I know many of you here in the Valley are familiar with her. If you would be interested in Barbara O'Neill coming to the Valley, South Texas, Brownsville, Harlingen, McAllen area, please make a note of that in the chat. Just say yes, have yes, Barbara O'Neill. And I would just kind of like to get a little poll to see the interest here. Or you could also let me know, like, how far are you willing to travel? If you knew that she was coming to your town or a town near you, how far would you be willing to travel? How many miles or how many hours drive? I would love to know that. So let's go ahead and get started. So anyway, I do apologize when I did record that. It just wasn't very clear. The enunciation wasn't very good. I was in a space where it was difficult for me to be able to talk louder and just to have better volume. So I do apologize for that. I was considering just doing that recording again and having it available to you there because there was some really good tips there as well. So we are finishing the regularity and bowel movements. That was February. Now March, coming into a new month, we're coming into a new topic. So for the month of March, we're going to be talking about exercise. Being March, the weather is getting a little bit more mild. Hopefully for some of you, the weather isn't as cold, but not as cold. Maybe the snow is melting a little bit and you're able to go outside, get some exercise outside. But with that said, with all of these gyms that are available, it's good to go outside and go to the gym as well. And hopefully there's less snow that will deter that will not deter, that travel and that trip to the gym. So Exceedingly Abundantly is brought to you by Journey to Abundant Wellness. Exceedingly Abundantly takes place every second and fourth Saturday of the month. So be sure to join us 2 weeks later. My name is Joanne McDermott. I am a functional nutrition counselor and a mental health coach. Just to throw out my disclaimer out there, the information provided here is intended to promote overall well-being and is not a substitute for personalized or professional care. Viewers are encouraged to empower themselves by learning how the body functions, allowing them to take an active role in their own health goals and decisions. So as I said, for the month of March, we are going to be talking about exercise. This is our part one. I'm going to be talking to you today about the benefits of exercise, why exercise is good for you. Sometimes they're always looking at, well, what's in it for me? There's a lot in it for you by doing exercise. And then the next time we get together, 2 weeks later, we'll be diving more into different types of exercises you can do. There's a wide range. Don't think that it's just all about jogging or even going to the gym. So we'll talk about different types of exercise and then just how exercise impacts the body. What is workings on the inside, what's happening when we actually do the exercise. We may tap into a little bit of that today, but anyway, today is mainly about the benefits of exercise. So why is exercise good? I mean, we hear that all the time, exercise. Let me see if I can tell you some of the reasons why it's good, and that might encourage you and motivate you to give it a try. All right, so first reason why exercise is good for us is because it strengthens our bones by stimulating the production of osteoblasts. Osteoblast is just that fancy medical term for saying bone cells. So when we are engaging in exercise, especially when it's some kind of weight bearing, well, I think just about any exercise, there's going to be a certain amount of weight bearing activity there. But when there is pressure, extra pressure along those bones, because let's say we squat and then we get back up, or we are lifting something. So that extra stress against the bones it stimulates the bone to start producing more bone cells. So just that stress, it just encourages that. It makes it feel like, okay, you know what, there's more pressure here. I need to make this bone stronger, so let me allow more production of bone cells. So, there are individuals, especially our older female population, they struggle with osteoporosis. Osteoporosis is just the bones getting weaker. So those weak bones, how can we strengthen them? We can strengthen them by doing exercise. But I know you're thinking, but my bone, structure there, integrity is just not even strong to begin with. So yes, you do need to be careful about what type of exercises that you're doing. You definitely want to be doing something that's low activity, but you don't want to just stop doing exercises, stop walking altogether. Another thing that can help to build those bones, obviously, is the foods that we're eating, but especially those foods that are high in minerals, because the bone is actually made up of minerals. I know, we've heard vitamin D, calcium. Calcium is a type of mineral. Minerals are those elements that we find on the periodic table of elements that we learned in chemistry: magnesium, calcium, phosphorus, sodium, potassium. Those are all minerals, and our bones are made up of minerals. So if you're eating those foods that are high in minerals, that is also going to help to contribute to strong, healthier bones. So what are those foods that are high in minerals? Those are our foods that are green leafy vegetables, right? So that would be like our spinach, our Swiss chard, kale, lettuce. So eating those leafy green vegetables in conjunction with exercising, that's going to build strong bones, right? So that we're able to move more easily and we don't have to worry about our bones breaking so easily. Exercise also helps our muscles to grow. This is a fact that really motivates our male population. They like to have strong muscles. I mean, even some of us are females, or maybe we may not want to be super muscular, but we certainly do like to be toned, right? So even the toning is a result of the muscles growing. So let's talk a little bit right now about how muscles actually grow. How do they build? How do they get thick? So let's look at the bottom of the picture here. I have my arrow right there. So this is representing a muscle fiber. So our muscles are made up of just fibers. When I think of fiber, I'm thinking of, I just ate some asparagus for lunch today. And when you chew something and you chew it, or maybe some of you might be familiar with a sugar cane. You chew it and chew it and chew it. You're just really sucking out all the juice out of it. You can't really swallow it. It doesn't break down. Your saliva is not really able to break it down. So that's just a lot of fiber. That's what I think of when I am talking about fiber. So I want you to try to envision that. Think of a food that you've eaten, you've chewed it and chewed it. There's another one that I eat and that, oh, celery. Yeah, you ever eat celery and you chew it and chew it but then there's a part of it that no matter how much you're biting it, it's just not breaking down anymore. And I don't know, either you swallow it whole or you just spit it out. So that's like fiber. And that would be your insoluble fiber because it's not dissolving. So kind of picture that. So your muscle is like fiber, several fibers on top of one another. Well, on the outside of the fiber are, like right on the outside, these blue things that you see here, that is called satellite cells. So these satellite cells sit on the outside of your muscle fiber. So when you go and you begin to exercise and you continue and you go on, and then you start to get to the point where it's getting kind of difficult, it's getting hard, but your trainer tells you, okay, I want you to keep going. Don't stop. Keep going until you cannot go anymore. Or, you know what? Let's just get in two more. So basically, it is you really pushing yourself, you really challenging yourself. So when you are pushing and challenging yourself to that extent, and you're causing those muscles to really work hard, sometimes it starts to create a small amount of damage. So yes, I did say damage. Exercise can cause some damaging in your muscles. But again, I did say small. So it creates tears, but these tears are micro tears. They call them micro tears. They're very, very small. So I'm going to show you in the picture here. See, that's your muscle fiber, as I said, and then that's the damage that's being caused. And so when there is damage of the muscle, your muscle begins to, or your brain, takes on this message, sees what's happening, and it begins to release hormones, two hormones to be specific. One hormone is called human growth hormone. The other one is called testosterone. See, what's happening here is anytime there's any kind of damage within your body goes into an immune response, meaning that it's instantly, immediately looking to fix and heal so that you don't continue to experience damage, you don't continue to experience being attacked by a bacteria or getting sick. So there's a tear, your body's going into immune response. It recognizes that it's a muscle where this damage has taken place. So the release of these two hormones takes place. Remember what they are? They're the human growth hormone, HGH, and then it's testosterone. Now these two hormones, what they do is they stimulate these satellite cells to migrate, find its way over to where the tear is. And then it just kind of fuses there, kind of connects itself there. And then those satellite cells begin to proliferate. They begin to reproduce. They produce more. And so now you have created a bigger mass, I don't know what to call it, or a bigger area. So now it's not just muscles, but it's muscles along with these satellite cells. And then those satellite cells, when they mature, they actually turn into muscle. So now what was a small size has now become a bigger size. And that is how your muscles start to build. But there's one other important ingredient in this picture that I haven't mentioned that also helps all of that to happen that I just mentioned, the repairing of the muscles and also the growth of the muscles. That is amino acids. So amino acids, they actually are what come together and help to build and make the more muscle fibers, because your muscle fibers are actually amino acids. So amino acids come from protein. So protein you're probably more familiar with than the word amino acids. So proteins are actually, when you take that protein and you break it down into smaller components, it becomes amino acids. So now when we eat, that's what happens. I was talking a little bit about digestion. Was it last month or at some point in the past? When we eat protein, so that's our beans, our legumes, or our animal flesh or animal products. When we eat protein, mixes with our saliva, our digestive enzymes, and it breaks the food down into smaller components so that it can be absorbed into the bloodstream. So within our bloodstream, we have all these amino acids just floating around, provided that we have eaten a good source and a good amount of protein. So again, when that muscle tear is there, the body recognizes, okay, it needs some repair. We need to make some new muscle fibers here to replace the damaged ones. And so the amino acids go right to that area because again, those muscle fibers are made of amino acids. So looking over here in the third picture, look at that. That muscle is bigger now because those satellite cells went to the damaged area, fused with the other muscle fibers. They grew, they became mature, and became full-fledged muscle cells. And now we have a bigger chunk of muscle. And that is how your muscles grow. And that's why your trainer is telling you, hey, if you want to gain muscle, there's two things you need to do. You need to eat a good diet, especially protein, yet make sure you're getting a good source, good amount of protein. And you have to exercise. But you have to exercise to the point where you are not hurting yourself, but you are challenging yourself. The more you challenge yourself, the faster those muscles are to grow. Now, there is another one other very, very important part in experiencing this muscle growth, and that is to make sure that you are allowing a period of time for recovery. I don't know if you've ever listened to any of these athletes, doing an interview, and they talk about how the recovery time is very important. Recovery, they talk about recovery, but they don't say what recovery is. I mean, you kind of common sense tells you, all right, well, I guess it has to do when you recover from something. They're working out 8 hours a day and just taking a break from that constant go, 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 running and training. Yes, that's what recovery is. So you need to be able to give your body a rest, give your body a break, because they, in fact, were pushing themselves during the training, and now they need to give their body an opportunity to repair those little micro tears that have happened within their muscles. Because if there isn't that recovery and you're pushing and pushing and pushing and not allowing healing to take place or enough time for that healing to take place, then the damage continues and it just gets worse and worse and worse. And so that's why, there's a little bit of a balance here. Yes, you're pushing yourself, but not to the extent that you're getting worse. You want to be building muscles and not causing more and more damage. You want to be building muscles so that you get stronger, not causing so much damage so that you're actually getting weaker and not able to do what you want to do, to gain that strength to move around and to just get more physically competent. Exercise also improves our agility and our balance. So let's look at the lady over here on the right. They are running in and out of, around these yellow things. I don't know what to call them. So that is going to involve a lot of quick turning to the left and then quick turning to the right. And if you're trying to do it as fast as you can, you really have to be, skilled, because the idea is to not touch or not move those yellow, cap-looking things that are on the ground there. So that is what the agility is. It's able to move, and to move quickly, and to move right. Sometimes some of us, we move a little bit too fast, and we our feet kind of fall out from underneath us, or sometimes you see an older person and they're they're moving very slowly, right? They just gotta have to take their time and move. Some, they're afraid of falling because if they fall, they might break a bone. Well, they shouldn't be afraid of falling, but maybe they've lost a little bit of their agility. They're not able to walk as well as proper as normally as they did before. They've lost some of that agility as a result of not doing regular exercises. That's what happens to us. We lose that agility, balance. Exercise helps us to maintain good balance. That is called neuromuscular adaptation. So let's just talk about that for a minute. Now, within our muscles, there's something called motor units. So a unit consists of a muscle, but it also consists of a neuron. Neurons are our brain cells, right? So when the brain cells come together with the muscle, right, that makes a motor unit, then that is what actually enables us to be able to move. So think about it. If you are sitting in a chair and I don't know, you need to go to the bathroom, and so you get up. You tell your brain says, "Hey, I want to get up because I need to go to the bathroom," and then you actually get up. So there is a connection. There's a communication between your brain and that muscle, and that communication is what we call the neuromuscular adaptation. And sometimes that communication is really good, and sometimes it's not so good. And so by doing exercise, that helps to improve your neuromuscular adaptation. It helps to improve that communication so that you can have better balance, and you are also able to move more easily. That's why people sometimes that suffer from strokes, there's been some nerve damage because there was a lack of blood in that area, and they have to learn how to walk again. So they have to improve their neuromuscular adaptation. They're improving that communication, that message, that pathway from the brain to that particular muscle, so that the next time they want to move that muscle, it happens more easily. So exercise it helps us to be more physical and not feel like, instead of feeling like, man, I can't really move, I can't really do anything. I mean, who wants to feel like that? Exercise also helps us to do deep breathing. When I say deep breathing, I mean that you inhale as deep as you can until you can't even take in any more air. And then you exhale, but you're exhaling it all out until there is no more that you can actually push out of your lungs. So when we are in a rested state, so we're sleeping, or even maybe not even when we're sleeping, but when we're sitting down and we're listening to something, we tend to do more of that shallow breathing, right? But when we start to exercise, when we are exerting ourselves physically, then we start to do more deep breathing. We're breathing deeper. Our body is causing us to take in a bigger deep breath. So why does that happen when we exercise? Without even thinking about it, you're just panting and you're just inhaling as much oxygen as you can. So that is because when you are exercising and you're moving those muscles are requiring energy because they are moving, they are very active, and they need energy in order to be able to move and to be moving to the extent that they are when you're exercising. So it's kind of crying out for oxygen, I need more oxygen. So the way in which the body is going to get more oxygen is by you inhaling. For one, you inhale, and then as that oxygen goes into your body, it eventually into your bloodstream, then the blood cells, particularly our hemoglobin, those red blood cells, they are carrying that oxygen to the muscles and all the organs of your body, your heart and your brain. And as those muscles and different body organs get the oxygen, then it 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 gives the oxygen to those cells, within those organs or within the muscles, and then the cells are able to use that oxygen to translate that to produce energy, right? Because oxygen is actually is a source of fuel, for our cells, and that's what gives us the energy to be able to do what we're doing. We need more of it if we're really exerting ourselves. So that's why when you're exercising real vigorously, you start breathing deeply, because your body is crying out to be able to create more fuel to support the activity that this muscle is undergoing, right? So not only is deep breathing giving us more oxygen, but in turn it's giving us more energy. So I have a picture here. The torso, which is called the upper part of our body. That's just the torso here. And there is a muscle, I'm pointing to it right here with my arrow. This muscle actually separates the torso into two parts, the upper part and the lower part. So this muscle is actually called the diaphragm. Here we see that, diaphragm. It's just a muscle. Above the diaphragm are the lungs and the heart. Below the diaphragm is your liver, your stomach, here's your large intestines, and your small intestines. So the diaphragm plays a very important part in deep breathing as well. And I want you to also remember that it is a muscle. So let's go over to this picture here. So this muscle, the diaphragm, it contracts and it relaxes, just like all of our muscles. They contract and relax, and that's what causes movement eventually. So here, the diaphragm is relaxed. It's smaller right now. It's relaxed. I'm sorry. No, it is contracted. I'm sorry, yeah. It's contracted. So when you think of something that's contracting, it's coming closer together. So it's smaller, right? It's smaller. So when it's relaxed like this, and it's moved down, your ribs are moved down, but it allows your lungs to be taking in more energy, right? Because there's more space, in that chest cavity right now, because that diaphragm is relaxed. It's it's smaller, so it's contracted right now. So see, it says here air is drawn in. So when we inhale, our diaphragm is smaller, and so it's contracted, but that allows us to be inhaling a lot of oxygen. Now when that diaphragm is released, or is not contracting, but it's relaxed. When it's relaxed, then that's when it gets bigger. And now so as it's getting bigger now, it's pushing against the ribs. So I'm sorry, well, the ribs too, but the lungs. So it's causing the air inside those lungs to come out. So it really causes us to really get all of that air out. So the diaphragm, being a muscle, when we are exercising, we help that muscle to function better, and to work better. Again, just like any muscles. Muscles is just a series of contracting and expanding. And the stronger those muscles are, well, in this case, your diaphragm, the stronger that muscle is, the easier it is going to be for you to breathe, or you're going to be breathing in a way that is more natural and that is more helpful, to your body. Again, too, as we exercise and we're breathing in deep, we're exhaling everything out, it also increases our lung capacity. So if you are, just always used to breathing shallow, then you're going to have a more reduced lung capacity. But when you start exercising, you will increase your lung capacity. I can remember that there was a time when I wasn't exercising at all, and well, I heard all of this exercise is good, so I knew exercise is good for me. I started exercising, and I remember that first month, or maybe the first week that I went to exercise, I remember feeling a tightness in my chest. It was tight, and I was wondering what was going on. Now, after I continued with the exercise for about, I don't know, maybe 3 months, maybe 6 months passed of just continuing with the exercises, being consistent, I noticed that tightness went away completely. I can tell you today I have no muscle tightness, when I go and do the routine exercises that I do. So I think, yeah, my lung capacity was a bit limited there because I was not doing any regular deep breathing. And as a result of the exercising, yes, indeed, my lung capacity has increased. Exercise improves gastrointestinal motility. So what is motility? Motility is the movement of the food throughout your entire digestive tract. I talked about this last week as well. So when we're eating food, it goes into our mouth. So let's just a little review of the gastrointestinal tract. So it goes into our mouth and then down our esophagus and then into our stomach, and then eventually going back to the other side here, again, our esophagus, our stomach, and eventually into our small intestines, and then our large intestines, and then eventually out through the anus, and we excrete the waste. So this whole thing is the GI tract, and that food has to move throughout that whole tract. Well, how does it move throughout the tract? It moves through an action called peristalsis. The ability for that food to engage in peristalsis is called motility. So if you have good motility, the food is passing through at a normal rate. If you have poor motility, the food is not passing down. It's not passing through. Sometimes a person might feel like the food is just sitting in their stomach and it's not getting out. Sometimes that food can be sitting in the intestines and it's not moving along the way it should. And that can create some symptoms and make us feel uncomfortable at times. Well, peristalsis, again, it's just the contraction and the relaxation of your muscles. So looking at this picture here where my arrow is, okay, so this green thing is the food that's passing through. In this case, it's your esophagus. And so right now, the muscles around that food, or where that food is located, the muscles have relaxed. The muscles are relaxed because to allow the food to pass by. But eventually it squeezes, so it contracts, right? So like right here, it contracts. So that constant relaxing and contraction is what's pushing the food to go on to the next area, and so forth. So since it's the muscles that's actually contracting and relaxing, causing the food to move along, a way in which to strengthen those muscles is exercise. So we talked about that, a little bit earlier in this lecture. Exercise is what strengthens our muscles, right? So any part of our body that has muscles. I just talked about the diaphragm, and here along the GI tract, muscles again. Muscles is what causes movement. Things to move, contract and relax. So just by doing some exercise, you can improve your motility. So if you feel like the food is sitting in there, it's not moving along the way it's supposed to, maybe some abdominal discomfort. Now there could be many reasons for that. So, I don't want anybody to say, oh, the food's in my stomach because I'm not exercising. There could be other reasons, but I'm just telling you all the different benefits of exercise, and definitely by exercising, it can also improve your motility. Exercise can also be a form of a natural pain reliever. When we exercise, another hormone that's released is called endorphins. Endorphins are a type of neurotransmitter. So neuro meaning brain, and but it's a hormone that when it's released, it affects our moods, right? Because there's so many different types of hormones. Earlier, I talked about the human growth hormone, and I talked about testosterone. Those are two hormones that stimulates the growth of new muscle cells, but also helps to repair, any damaged muscle cells. That's what those hormones do. Well, there's another hormone that gets released when we're doing exercise, and it's called endorphins. Endorphins it changes our mood for the better. It helps us to feel happy, confident, makes us feel like we are experiencing serendipity. It just improves our mood. That's why a lot of times people will say after they exercise, they just feel like they're on this almost like a natural high. I'm gonna call it. It just gives you this sense of everything is good, everything's gonna be all right. This new sense of confidence just by doing exercise. That's how you feel. And it's a real feeling. It's not imagined. It's actually a release of endorphins. But endorphins are also known to be a natural pain reliever. Now, I want you to take a really close look of that word, endorphins, because there is a pain reliever. There is a man-made pain reliever or medication that is prescribed for someone that is experiencing pain. And that particular pain medication the naming of that came from endorphins, because the name of that medication is similar to the word endorphins. So just keep looking very closely at that word endorphins. Endorphins, just look at that. And can you think of a pain reliever that is prescribed to someone that is experiencing a great deal of pain? You know what that medication is? When a person is experiencing high pain, so they would get this prescription if they've had surgery. A lot of cancer patients get this prescription medication. Do you know what it is? And it kind of looks like the word endorphins. Have you figured out what it is yet? It's morphine. You see that? Can you see how morphine could have come from endorphins? Just the last part of the word endorphins or morphine. You can see the similarities there. So yes, morphine has come from the name of the hormone that operates to relieve pain, but naturally. And endorphins are released when we exercise. So last but not least, exercise also promotes anti-aging. So we see a picture here of a woman putting on cream on her face, right? Because there's all sorts of anti-aging creams that are out there. Use this and it'll make your face look younger. Well, I'm here to tell you today that there is an anti-aging natural remedy, that you can do. And because it's natural, there's no side effects there. And that is exercise. You see, when we exercise, our bodies release something called BDNF. And that BDNF stands for brain derived neurotrophic factor. So BDNF, it improves the functions of the neurons, right? So our neurons are our brain cells. When we exercise, our brain cells work better. So just maintaining that active life, exercising, it helps our brains to function better. So, because, when we get older, we tend to be more at risk for dementia, memory. The memory just changes, it shortens. Risk for Alzheimer's. Well, a way to, whether it's prolong that or avoid that, is to engage in exercise activity. BDNF also encourages new neurons to grow. And it also protects the existing neurons from any kind of stress, in our bodies, or, that we may be experiencing any kind of stress or any kind of damage, maybe even damage to our neurons itself. So BDNF it's a natural anti-aging. It keeps our brain functioning well, those neurons especially, which is our brain cells. In fact, they say people that have low levels of BDNF, there has been a link to low BDNF to depression and suicide. Well, that kind of makes sense, because remember, I was just saying that when you exercise, you release endorphins, and endorphins make you feel happy, make you feel good, opposite of depression. So if you want to feel good, or you want to age gracefully, or, avoid dementia or Alzheimer's down the line, exercise is a very, very good thing for this. Producing the BDNF, because it protects our neurons, and it actually helps to produce new neurons or new brain cells. Wow, what a lot of things there that exercise can do. All the benefits of exercise. And the truth is, we have a choice. We don't have to exercise, we might not feel like exercising, but what we're actually choosing is, more unhealthy conditions and more of a rapid aging rate. I would prefer to not experience that. I'd rather age gracefully. But I know sometimes we struggle with that motivation, right? So that's why I decided to choose a time, or designate for the next, time that we get together, where I'm going to be talking about the different types of exercises, how to go about doing it, and how we can make it so that it is not overwhelming, it's not stressful, it's not making us feel like, I don't feel like doing this all the more. There is a way to do it, and there's a way to gain the benefits of it, and there's a way to be able to make it happen. So you just have to be going about it the right way. So, allow me to be able to share that with you, because any one of us can exercise. I think we've just kind of been going about it the wrong way, but bear with me, there is a right way and there is a wrong way. So I want to thank you again for joining me on Exceedingly Abundantly. Again, to remind you, we meet every second and fourth Saturday of the month. Today's the second Saturday of the month, and we will be meeting again in a couple of weeks. Again, we will be talking about exercise part 2. You could subscribe to this channel so that you are able to get the notifications when a next post or podcast has been posted, to just keep you in tune so you don't miss out on anything. Thank you so much for joining me, and enjoy the rest of your day. Oh, and I forgot to mention the time. So it's every second and fourth Saturday of the month. It's at 3 p.m. Central Standard Time. I am in Texas, and so I am based off of the Texas time, Central Standard Time. We'll see you next time. Take care.